Crown Finish Caves is a cheese aging facility. So we buy young cheese and age it, and we wholesale it to retailers and restaurants in and around New York City. We do not make cheese. That is one confusing thing about our businesses. And when I first started all of this, in my mind, I felt like these caves were where I wanted to make cheese, but I didn't know anything, and so I had to go learn that that was wrong. And that here in Brooklyn, we are not close to any animals that you can milk and get the milk to make the cheese. And so the ideal situation for us here was to become an aging facility because of the existing conditions of these lagering tunnels.
The temperature ranges between 52 and 53 degrees and around 94% humidity. We bring fresh air in through a HEPA filter up here, so we're always bringing fresh air into the cave. So the fresh air comes in through this pipe and it goes over to this, and then the air is blown through these textile ducts, which are off right now. So we fluctuate between 52 and 53 degrees, and right now we hit 52, the ducts stay off until the temperature rises to 53, then boom, the ducts come back on, and we start to circulate air in the cave.
My husband Benton Brown and I bought this building back in 2001. It's a former Nassau brewery. It was built in 1860s in the heyday of making beer in Brooklyn. There was something like over 60 breweries throughout Brooklyn, and this was definitely one of the bigger ones. We just walked down these spiral stairs that take us about 30 feet below the street, and these are the original lagering tunnels that were built for the Nassau brewery.
This was used for open vat fermentation of lager. So they were making lager beer in this building. It closed in 1910, actually 1914.
And so then we basically renovated them and started aging cheese here in 2014. So they were essentially unused for 100 years, which kind of blows my mind.
So we have 3 tunnels. We're in one of the ones that we haven't renovated yet, but each tunnel is only about 1,000 square feet. And so out of that 1,000 square feet, we hold around 22 to 25,000 pounds of cheese at one time.
Coming down the line here, this is a raw milk tome from Springbrook Farm in Vermont. And we do some different things with this, like we wash these cheeses in a port wine to give it this color. This is a pasteurized goat cheddar, so it's a natural rind goat cheddar, and we grow this mold that's called mucor on here. It's like a cat fur, and so while this is aging, we're patting this down and we're flipping it. So you don't want the cat fur to get too out of control. So a lot of what we do here is that. Flip, every other day it gets flipped and gets rubbed down. Over here is Alpine style cheese, also from Springbrook Farm, which is over there. This is raw milk, and so these are 30-pound wheels that will be here for at least a year. These cheeses are the same cheese, except these we larded and bound in cloth. So they're going to age differently with the lard and the mold happening over here. So they become different cheeses in the end on how we treat them. They come in exactly the same. This gets a natural rind, this gets a cloth-bound rind. If this were going to age a year, this gets aged 4 months. So they end up tasting very different. Over here is a cheddar. So this is a naked cheddar, so it's not a cloth-bound cheddar, so we're growing a natural rind on, this is what they look like when they come into us, very young and yellow, and then we start to grow, this sort of natural, sort of stone-looking colored rind. This is called a cheese iron, and this is what we use. We go into the cheese, we turn it, and we pull out a core, and then we taste just what's right here on the end, and then we put the cheese back in there. And so then we can taste what it tastes like at different periods and don't affect the aging cycle because we've closed it back up.
We do test and taste. So basically we do taste cheese sort of throughout the whole life of the cheese here to gauge how it's doing and to know when it's time to sell. You don't really know when it's time to sell, and so you're tasting it. Could be monthly, depending on what type of cheese it is. Could be every 3 months if it's a longer aged cheese. And so, especially when you're first starting off with different cheeses, you want to constantly be tasting and keeping good notes on that. There's a lot of note taking that goes on here because you have to keep track of everything and how things are going so you can repeat that again. Okay, so we're going to taste one of these. So you take this. And you pull the cheese out. Oh man.
Good?
Really good. So it's really like caramelly and butterscotch.
That's good.
That's a really good sign.
Yeah, very elastic paste. It's not crumbling. It's not breaking easily. It's
Yeah.
not cracked. Yeah, that's great.
As you just kind of feel the texture, like how much moisture is in there, if it's sticking.
It's ready to sell now.
It is. That's crazy. There's all these variables, and being able to control one of those variables, which is the aging space, is one step into sort of eliminating some of the questions to be able to have a consistent cheese. That's great news. We haven't tasted this since we got it back in July.
We'll age it for another 6 months before we sell it.
I really like to come into the cave and have, there's a certain smell, a smell that tells you that everything is happy, that the cheeses are happy. It's a smell of ripening cheese, like a healthy, ripening smell. And that was something that we weren't really getting until we had a whole lot of cheese in the cave. And so that, I would say, is one of the things that makes me really happy. And that's the end of it. That's really good news.
Yeah,
It's leaving a really good taste in my mouth right now, too.